military has claimed it will give a fitting response to fresh Ukrainian air attacks inside Russia using US-supplied Army Tactical Missile System, or the ATACMS. Russia's defense ministry said Ukraine hit Russia with US-produced ATACMS missiles twice over the last 3 days. Russia said it is preparing retaliatory measures. Giving detail of the attack, the Russian military said both strikes targeted Russian positions in the Kursk region. Earlier, escalating its own attacks, Russia launched a record number of drones at Ukraine overnight. The Ukrainian Air Force said the strike damaged buildings and critical infrastructure in several areas. Kiev said Russia launched 188 drones. The attacks come amid growing international tensions after Russia launched a nuclear-capable missile that could reach European countries. The Ukrainian Air Force claims it shot down 76 Russian drones in 17 regions, while 95 more were either lost from their radars or shot down by electronic jamming defense systems. The barrage came as ambassadors from Ukraine and NATO's 32 members were due to meet in Brussels over Russia's last week firing of an intermediate-range missile on the city of Dnipro. On the battlefield, Ukraine's troops are struggling to halt advances by Russian forces in the east of the country. Russian forces claimed they captured another village in the Kharkiv region, stating that its forces liberated the settlements of Kopanki. Meanwhile, military experts are worried that Russian troops will take full control of Kurakov in the Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine.
There is information showing that it is probably only a matter of time before the Russian forces completely take control of Kurakov, as they have already entered the center of Kurakov. Once the Russian army takes full control of Kurakov, it will once again hit the morale of the Ukrainian army and accelerate its defeat in the direction of eastern Ukraine. The ongoing ground conflicts in the direction of both Kursk and eastern Ukraine are extremely unfavorable to Ukraine.
Russia launched a record of 188 drones into Ukraine Monday night, advancing its attacks at its fastest pace in 2 years, according to an assessment from the Institute of the Study of War.
Now, NATO and Ukrainian officials are convening in an urgent meeting. NBC's Richard Engel has the latest from Kyiv, Ukraine.
Ukrainian and NATO officials today are holding emergency meetings after Russia has quite dramatically intensified its attacks, trying, it seems, to secure the strongest position possible before the inauguration of President-elect Trump, who says that he's going to end the war. Russia assumes if the war does end, it wants to have the most territory in its hands as possible, and so does Ukraine. But at the moment, it is Russia that has the momentum. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia fired 188 drones at Ukraine just overnight. That is a record number for a short period of time. Russia has been intensifying over the last several days, which is why NATO and Ukraine are trying to coordinate strategy. The UK and France have joined the United States in allowing Ukraine to fire their weapon systems into Russia. Ukraine wants to see more of this, but there is a feeling here that time is not working in Ukraine's favor, that President Trump is going to come on January 20th. He says he's going to freeze the conflict. And at this moment, Ukraine is losing territory. They're losing it fastest in the Kursk region. That is the part of Russia that Ukraine captured in August. It was a large territory that Ukraine was able to occupy in a surprise attack. But over the last several weeks, they have lost, according to Ukrainian intelligence, about 40% of that territory.
Идет, еще один идет. Там вообще пиздец.
Here in Kherson, residents are working to clear the damage following a heavy nighttime blitz of Russian drone strikes, the most it's ever deployed in a single attack.
It burned my toe. We only have a small hole in the window. A tree fell outside which protected us, so the windows and everything else remained intact.
It's not just Kherson affected. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia pounded Ukraine with a record 188 drones in most regions of the country, targeting residential buildings and critical infrastructure, and cutting power to 70% of western Ukraine as Kyiv prepares to face a difficult winter. The Ukrainian president said most of the drones were shot down and neutralized.
This was a significant increase in pressure on Ukraine due to such terror. It is important that we managed to protect our people and infrastructure from most of these threats. Almost 200 Russian drones against Ukraine in a day is proof that Russian desires are extremely far from any ideas of real peace.
Ukraine has also been ratcheting up its aerial attacks. Russia's defense ministry released these images, saying it shows the remains of American long-range ballistic missiles and has sworn to retaliate. The US gave Ukraine permission to use the missiles earlier this month on Russian territory, triggering Vladimir Putin's most stark threat to the West yet, warning countries not to aid Ukraine with missile attacks. Western allies have been meeting to discuss options going forward. In Strasbourg, European MEPs reaffirmed their unwavering support for Ukraine, similar to in Italy, where foreign ministers from the G7 countries said they hope to start distributing funds from a $50 billion loan package by the end of the year.
Сегодня ночью нами был нанесен комплексный удар с применением 90 ракет подобных классов и 100 беспилотников. Поражено 17 целей. Это военные объекты, объекты оборонной промышленности и системы их обеспечения. Повторю еще раз, эти удары с нашей стороны состоялись также в ответ на непрекращающиеся удары по российской территории американскими ракетами «Атакамс». Как уже говорил неоднократно, с нашей стороны ответ всегда будет.
We go overseas now to the war in Ukraine. Russia launching a massive barrage across the country, targeting its energy infrastructure as winter approaches. And Vladimir Putin is warning the strikes could intensify. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is tracking the latest. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Rebecca. That's right. I mean, Russia and North Korea essentially expanding their mutual defense pact this morning, in effect challenging the US, South Korea and Europe. The Russian defense minister, who's in Pyongyang, saying he wants to maintain the balance of power in Northeast Asia. As you say, meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians without power today. Russia carrying out another massive aerial attack on Ukraine's already beleaguered energy system. Putin essentially trying to crush Ukraine's power grid as winter temperatures start to plummet. President Biden calling it an horrific attack. Even the US ambassador to Ukraine forced to hide in a bunker while it was happening. Putin claiming that the attack was a response to the use of US weapons against Russia, recently approved by President Biden. But honestly, these type of attacks have been happening for well over a year. And in a warning to the US and NATO, Putin claiming that his weapons, like this hypersonic missile, are stronger than the American ones, and that he has 10 times more missiles than all of NATO combined. He's also trying to flatter President-elect Trump, who's vowed to end the war quickly, calling him a, quote, quite clever and experienced man who will find a solution. But for all the talk of peace plans, Russia pressing its war against Ukraine harder than ever as tensions grow between the US and its allies and Russia and its partners. Gio?
All right, Ian, thank you so much for your reporting.